Hey up guys, what we're going to look at today is the relationship between major and minor. In this lesson we're going to be using our trusty old key of C major, which comprises of the notes C, D, E, F, G, A, B and C, making up that root note again. If I just outline the notes there and contain all the notes of C major, we can see that we get the root, the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth, the sixth, the seventh, and then we get back to the root note again of the C major. Now, what you might not realise is that the minor is made of the same notes but starting from a different spot. We need to start on the 6th degree of the major scale to be able to find our way into the relative minor. So if we go on the 6th here and we connect up here, we can see that A and A, this is our starting note for our relative minor. And it's called relative because it's relative to the notes that we found in this C major here. So if we go A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, now that gives us our notes for our relative minor, and you can see they're exactly the same notes. If this was another key, we would just add those sharps or flats, and this would be the way we would figure this stuff out. As well as looking at it from this point of this relative minor, what we can also do is we can connect here and we can think of this in the case of being the relative major. So if we were in the minor key and we want to know what the relative major would be, we would look at this third note here. So what happens is we get the root, second, flat third, fourth, fifth, flat six, flat seven, and then you can see we're back at this root note again. So we've got this formula here, we're adapting it from the major formula, and then we put flats on to show how far away that note is from the root note. So from an A to a C, that's a minor third distance. From the A to the F, that is a flat six. From the A to the G, that is a flat seven. So let's just put the major scale there, and what you can see, like I say, we've got the root, the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth, the sixth, and the seventh. Now, I don't need this C here, but I'm just going to leave that there just so that you can see that we've gone up the full octave. And that is the spelling for our major scale. The formula for the major scale uses these 7 scale degrees. When we want to apply the major pentatonic to this, then what we do is essentially we have to get rid of some of these notes. The major scale is a diatonic scale, which means it has 7 notes. We're looking at this pentatonic, which means it has 5 notes. So we have to get rid of 2 of these notes. Well, the formula for the major pentatonic is root, second, third, fifth, sixth. That is the formula. So what we have to do is get rid of the B. We have to get rid of the F. That means that we omit 4 and 7. If we want to think about this in chord language, then we would also be omitting chord 4 in the major and chord 7. So we can get rid of those 2 chords there. We can omit those. We can think of those synonymously. So now what we're going to do is we're going to apply this principle to the minor pentatonic. And if you remember the minor pentatonic, it had a root, a second, a flat third, a fourth, a fifth, a flat sixth, and a flat seven. We're going to repeat that octave up there. The notes that we need to put in are A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then back to A. I'm pulling that information from up here just so we can see that there. The formula, I'll write this down here again, for the minor pentatonic is root, flat third, fourth, fifth, flat seven. And as you can see, that means we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 notes there. That makes sense because this is a pentatonic scale. That means we have to omit 2 notes from this 7-note diatonic scale here. The minor scale is a diatonic scale as well. So we can see we've got the root. When we jump to the flat third, that means we have to get rid of this B here. Right, well, let's see what else we need to omit. We've got the fourth, we've got the fifth, and then we get to the flat seventh here, which means we have to get rid of this flat six. Now, the curious thing is if you want to look at this, you can see that that second and that flat six there are an F and a B. Well, we've already omitted those in the major pentatonic, because what I'm trying to show you here is that the major and the minor are basically inversions of each other. So if we get rid of that there, you can see we've got rid of the B and we get rid of the F there. So that means we omit the second and we omit the flat 6, which is going to be a B and the F again. Now, if you wanted to think about the chords that you could associate with the minor pentatonic, you would get rid of chord 2, which would be diminished, which makes sense because that matches with chord 7 synonymously. And you could also get rid of chord flat 6 here, which is synonymous with chord 4 there in the major. Now, what does this look like on guitar? Well, here's the thing, guys. It means that all 5 of your box patterns in the cage box patterns are basically major and minor pentatonics at the same time. Yeah, you only need to memorize those 5 shapes once. You don't need to rememorize them for major pentatonics and minor pentatonics. You only need to memorize them once. So let's look at one of the boxes. Here we're going to have our humble box 1 pattern that we know and love. If we look at this from the minor pentatonic perspective, we're going to do this one here first. Let's just look at that. We have the root note here for this minor pentatonic. Let's put the flat 3rd in here. Then we get the 4th. Then we get the 5th. So you can tie that into that. So that's the root. There's the flat 3rd. That's the 4th. And this is the 5th. Right, okay, so we need this flat 7 now, which goes here, which means we go back onto a root again. And you can see that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 note values, and then we go back to the beginning. We get the root, flat 3rd, 4th, 5th, flat 7, and then we get this root note again. And you can see what's effectively happened is we've gone up an octave and then we've gone up another octave. So that's a 2-octave scale. And what we generally tend to do is just to finish it off by putting this note here. Now, by reorganizing these, what I can do is I can spell out the major pentatonic. I'm going to use exactly the same box pattern, box 1, but I'm going to shift the emphasis of this root note. Because if we imagine this in the key of A, then this note here would be our A for the A minor pentatonic, okay? We're going to shift this around so that you can see it a little bit clearer. I'm still going to be here thinking at the 5th position, but I'm also going to look down here. I'm going to use this distance of a minor 3rd. So we're going to look from here, from this 5th fret. This would be our starting point. This would be a minor 2nd, this would be a major 2nd, and this would be a minor 3rd. And if we look up here and we see this distance between the 6 and the 8 there, we can see that that is a minor 3rd distance in both cases there, guys. So this becomes super interchangeable. We're going to not have this root note as being A. We're going to change it to be a C. So this is what we're doing now. This note here is going to be our root note. So let's apply this to it. So if this was A, B, and C would be here. So that means our root note goes there. We're going to plot this pattern out exactly the same. I just want you to see that these notes are the same. So the root note, okay, going up the scale, we would find the 2nd here, the 3rd here, 5th here, 6th here. Can you see how this pattern is already starting to look very, very familiar? If we compare it to this one here, we can see it. Okay, so let's keep on going. This here is our root note again. Then the 2nd goes here, the 3rd, the 5th, the 6th here. And then we get another handy-dandy root note here. That would make sense because this is an E string and this is an E string and they use the same pattern. Notice, guys, how we've gone up 1 octave and then we've gone up another octave here as well. So we've got those 2 octaves there. Now we're still using what we assume to be the box 1 pattern, but it's not really in the same vein. Also, let's just fill this out. Can you see how I've got this note here? I'm going to apply that note over here on the thick E string and we end up with the same pattern. Now, what that means, if you have seen that lesson where I talk about the old hand of rock, now excuse the drawing of the hand, but hopefully it looks a bit like one. There you go, there's the hand. And what we can do is we can think to ourselves, if we start on the index, that is our minor pentatonic, and if we start on our pinky, that is going to be our major pentatonic. Hopefully that makes sense. You would start that pattern there using the pinky, and if we start on this one, we would use the index. And this is the way to take that box 1 pattern and apply that across there. Now we know this one here as the minor, and we know this now is the major pentatonic. But what I want you to do is I want you to look at how this shape forms here. This one, this one, this one, this one, and this one, and this one here. Now, if we were to take those shapes there and apply them to a new box pattern, we might think to ourselves, this is box 2 of our 5 boxed patterns that we get with the pentatonics. I'm going to copy that pattern over here. Now, what you can see is the groupings. We've got these 2 root notes here. We have another black note there. Let's put that there. Can you see I'm just reflecting that over there? And we've got this group of 3 here. And this is starting to look like what we consider to be box 2 of our pentatonic. But the root note on here, that is the root. There's the second, there's the third, the fifth here, the sixth. Then what happens is we get the root note again down here, and you can see that makes sense because we get our E-shaped caged octave there. Can you see? Starting on the E string there. That gives us 1 octave. We get another octave here. Let me just finish filling this out. We get the root, we get the second, we get the third, we get the fifth, we get the sixth just here. Now this is handy because what we can start to see is we can maybe see a part of a triad in there. We know where the sixth is going to be relative to that. And then we get that root note. Because this is the root note, yes, we've gone up 2 octaves there, but let's just fill out the box pattern. We get that full box pattern there, guys. Now, we could equally switch this pattern over and we could turn this major pattern into a minor pattern. Let's do that. We've got this note here. We've got this note here. Let me get rid of that there. That's confusing. And what we do is we just draw this pattern in here. But the thing that I want you to see is that the root note just moves position. So we're going to have the flat third of the minor pentatonic. This note here would be the 4th. This would be the 5th. Then we get the flat 7. Then we get back to that root note here. We get the flat third again, 4th, 5th. Flat 7 here, and then we can finish that off by putting the root note in here. And what you can see there, hopefully with those red root notes, that distance there is a D-shaped octave. You can see we get that same range there, but we just want to finish this off here and just mirror the notes that are over here so that we get the full pattern. And that is going to help you to be able to see your triads as well. Let's just pull out the triad in there. In this case, because this is a D-shaped octave, we're going to have this D minor shape in there. Just like this is an E-shaped octave, this is from the E major, so that is part of an E shape. This is where this all comes in, guys. I hope you found this to be a useful lesson. If this is something that you want to dig into a bit more and another way of seeing the pentatonics, then watch this video up here.